Directions. Read the passage below and answer the questions that follow. A date with Rachmaninov. Jason watched the clock closely. He could hear the quiet ticks ring out in the silence of the house. The long hand was about to hit 6, meaning that his piano teacher should be coming up his driveway at any minute. He, of course, was already sitting on the piano bench with his fingers poised delicately on the black and white keys. This would happen every day at 5:25 p.m. because he could barely wait the 5 minutes until his teacher arrived. Jason, Miss Cynthia is here, his mother called out from her upstairs office. She had the perfect vantage point from there and could see his teacher's car pulling up. Just on time, he thought. Jason liked everything to go according to plan. Routine was a dear friend of the dedicated piano student. The two always started with scales. Jason hardly had to think while getting his fingers warmed up. He had grown used to his fingers traveling up and down the keys. Miss Cynthia called it habit memory, something she said she had learned in anthropology class when she was in college. A man named Paul Connerton had written about the term, Jason remembered, and it was meant that your body retains certain knowledge without having to think about it. Just like the way you remember how to ride a bike, even if you don't do it for a while, Miss Cynthia had explained to Jason. So, as he performed the scales on the piano, Mr. Jason thought about Mr. Connerton. Today, we will be tackling a new piece, Miss Cynthia said to him on that sunny afternoon. This one is hard, but with a lot of practice, one day you'll master it, she said, pulling out a piece of sheet music. She placed it in front of Jason. He noticed that it was well used, with tiny tears on the sides of the pages and yellowed age spots. On the top, he read, Piano Concerto No. 1, Rachmaninov. Beneath, he could see a swarm of black notes that played out in a frenzy. Although Jason could sight read, meaning that he could easily read the music notes on a sheet and play from them, he knew that this would be a tough one. Miss Cynthia noticed his bewildered expression. Don't worry, we'll practice it bit by bit. As he drove his car down Amsterdam Avenue in New York City, Jason thought of that day when he first sat down with the composer Rachmaninov. At least that's what it felt like to him, like meeting the famous musician personally. He fumbled through the first couple of pages with Miss Cynthia before they called it quits for the day, but he still felt like he got to know the late 19th century composer. Lost in his memory, Jason almost missed the red light that shone through the heavy rain. He stepped on his brakes and the car skidded to a halt. He checked his watch. Almost 5:30. He grew frustrated at the light. He hated being late, but he was nearly at his destination. The hands on his watch displayed 5:21 as he climbed out into the rain after he had parked. He ran into the building, umbrella in hand, careful not to step in any puddles. Once he entered the revolving glass doors, the doorman greeted him. Good evening, Mr. Moran, he said, as Jason smoothed out his suit. Jason nodded back and continued, weaving through an elegant hallway. He took a deep breath before he pushed through 2 large black doors. He looked at his watch one last time. 5:30, right on the dot. The lights of the Avery Fisher Hall shone brightly on the stage, illuminating the members of the New York Philharmonic Orchestra. Jason calmly walked over to his piano, nestled behind the musicians who were quietly cleaning their instruments before rehearsal in the famous Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts. On the nights scheduled tonight was Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 1. Jason thought of Miss Cynthia one last time before the conductor raised his hands to signal the start of the piece. Question number 1. What does paragraph 5 suggest about Jason's character? A, Jason gets frustrated easily. B, playing music helps Jason feel connected to others. C, Jason often gets nervous before he gives a big performance. D, Jason values practice because he knows it will help him become a great musician. Number 2, reread the following sentences from paragraph 2. Just on time, he thought. Jason liked everything to go according to plan. Routine was a dear friend of the dedicated piano student. Based on the way the author uses the words dear friend, the sentence means A, to Jason, routine is a valued part of his life. B, being on time is more important to Jason than being a good pianist. C, Jason is focused on piano playing and therefore doesn't have many friends. D, Jason's piano teacher is a good friend to Jason. Number 3, which detail best reflects the main reason why Jason remembers Miss Cynthia? A, the long hand was about to hit 6, meaning that his piano teacher should be coming up his driveway at any minute, from paragraph 1. B, the two always started with scales. Jason hardly had to think while getting his fingers warmed up. He had grown used to his fingers traveling up and down the keys, from paragraph 3. C, Miss Cynthia called it habit memory, something that she said she had learned in anthropology class when she was in college, from paragraph 3. D, today we will be tackling a new piece, Miss Cynthia said to him on that sunny afternoon. This one is hard, but with lots of practice, one day you'll master it, she said, pulling out a piece of sheet music, from paragraph 4. Question 4. What detail from paragraph 1 best indicates how Jason feels about playing the piano? A, Jason watched the clock closely. He could hear the quiet ticks ring out in the silence of the house. C, the long hand was about to hit 6, meaning that his piano teacher should be coming up his driveway at any minute. D, this would happen every day at 5:25 p.m. because he could barely wait the 5 minutes until his teacher arrived. Number 5. How does the story told in paragraphs 1 through 4 relate to paragraphs 5 through 7? A, paragraphs 1 through 4 explain an event that comes before the events in paragraphs 5 through 7. B, paragraphs 1 through 4 contrast with information in paragraphs 5 through 7. C, paragraphs 1 through 4 present a problem that is solved in paragraphs 5 through 7. D, paragraphs 1 through 4 provide details that summarize the events in paragraphs 5 through 7. Number 6. In the story, A Date with Rachmaninov, what theme is supported by paragraphs 4 and 8? Use 2 details from the story to support your response. Write your answer on the lines below.